Okay, so I'm changing it because I pulled it off the wall so you guys could see it better. This is a 4 square box. And what happens is when I use this type of a cover on an exposed 4 square box, as you can see from the back side and from the sides, that it overhangs. It can get caught on something. Somebody turning around the corner can catch on this and break it. And it doesn't look as professional as when you have a setup just like this, where it covers the box perfectly. So, we'll move into the other room. Okay, and this is the setup that I'm talking about. This is the setup that I'm talking about right here. So what I did was I used this plate to mount the switch in the outlet. This switch is obviously the stuff in here is live because this switch is controlling this light over here. All right, that we also mounted. I showed you guys this the other day. And we ran the conduit down to the box and we put this on, and I was thinking I was going to put a plastic or a wooden or a steel cover over this. But then I decided to go with the other thing, which is called a mulberry cover. All right, so let me get the mulberry cover and let's begin. Okay, now, obviously, since this is definitely both live, I obviously want to be cautious about what I'm doing. I also don't want to shut it off because I'll be standing here left in the dark doing this. Now, if you guys were here before when I originally did this, if you look inside, next to the outlet and next to the switch, you see that I taped those up, which is the proper thing to do, especially when you're working in steel or metal boxes. It makes it safer for the next guy when they need to do something just like this, especially if they have to do it live, which I'm going to do. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect and pull out the switch and the outlet. Okay, so I carefully pull out the switch, making sure that I don't hit any of the wires on the side of the box, even though it's taped. You want to make sure it's nice. And we're being cautious about what we're doing. So we pull this out just enough to get it out of the way. The tricky part is going to be when we want to take this ring off, because we don't want to hit any exposed side parts of especially this outlet here, which is covered by tape, but there is still little tiny sections that are exposed. Okay, and again, I just want to pull it up nice. Okay, so I'm going to take my wires out of the box nice, so that I have everything coming out, so that I have the most room to maneuver around right here. So I'm going to loosen up this. Actually, for mulberry covers, see how this one slides on and slides on? You normally only have to loosen them, but if you look in here, you see that these don't slide on, so you actually have to take these screws out. Okay, now I want to take one device at a time and put it through there. Take my wires and take my other device and put it through there to successfully slide off the ring. Now, once I've slid off the ring, I'm going to open up the mulberry cover box. Be careful when you open it up because you have this little bag of screws and stuff that you need inside, and sometimes they don't come in a bag. Sometimes they're loose in there, so you got to be careful when you open up the bag so you don't drop them out, because you're going to need them. Okay, one other thing I wanted to show you guys about this is right here on this outlet and the switch. Do you see these tabs here with the little holes in them? Well, what these are meant for is, in a normal installation, what you would do is this would be in the wall, and the box would be in the wall, and you do your rough-in installation, which means you get all the wires and stuff prepared like we did in the last lab. And then you would wait for the sheetrockers to come and put the sheetrock and stuff on. And then you put the outlets and switches on. And what these little tabs do is that sheetrock is supposed to be that tight so that these actually rest like this against the sheetrock, so that they don't go into the wall, especially on an outlet. If you ever notice that there's maybe an outlet or two somewhere around your house that when you plug something in, the outlet itself goes a little bit into the wall, well, that's what these are to prevent. Now, these do not fit on a mulberry cover, as I will show you. As I will show you, because of these tabs, they're too big for the mulberry cover. So what you need to do is you need to take them off. And in order to take them off, it's a pretty simple process. If you look closely here, do you see that there's an indentation and an indentation here on all these tabs? Those are put there specifically for the purpose of being able to remove these in a type of installation like this easily. So what you do is you take your lineman pliers, you put it square right on where that indentation is, and you give it a little twist. A couple of times, it pops right off. Go to the next one. You want to make sure you get it right on where that tab is, otherwise you can bend this all and distort this, and you don't want to do that. So I'm going to have to take off all 4 tabs. See, this one doesn't want to come. There we go. At the same time, I got to be careful where I'm placing my hands on this, because even though there is tape on this, this is live, and there could be a spot that might just be enough exposed to zap me. So you got to be paying attention to that. Now, normally, if I knew I was going to use a mulberry box in the first place, I would have done this before I even installed these or even wired these up. I would have taken them right out of the box and pulled these tabs off. But because it's a plan change, that wasn't done. Okay, so now after I get those out, what you do is you actually mount your outlet and your switch to the mulberry box through the holes that we have here. So the original screws that we had here are no longer necessary. And the reason for that is because they're a different size. Now, as you see, these ones come with little nuts inside of them. Okay? So what you want to do is, as we open these up, you see the original screws went through these holes. But see, these are the holes that you mount a mounting plate to. Okay? And the holes on the mulberry cover aren't set up for these holes. That's why we took out those screws. We're going to actually use the mounting screws that come with the thing, and these holes here will actually line up with the same holes that you would use to put on a plastic plate. So if you were using a plastic plate, you would actually use both holes, because this one would hold it into the wall, and this one would hold the plastic plate on. But since that's not the case, what we do, we slide this on here, and you see how those holes line up. So we just simply first one's always the hardest one to get. I gotta make sure it's lined up properly. we go. And we just get it started, and we get the other one. Never fully tighten down a screw until you have both screws set in. Just a little tip for you. Once you got both screws started, then you can go right ahead. Make sure everything's lined up right, and you can go ahead and tighten them down. Okay. And then we do the same thing with this. Now you notice on the outlet box they have 3 holes here. Now that can be if you want to secure this in this hole with the screw, but as an outlet and a plate to an outlet, you normally only use this one here in the middle. That's where the plate goes, right? So the one in the middle here. So what you do is we take our screw and we do the same thing. We're going to put the outlet right in there. And as we put the outlet in there, get that screw started. One second. What's actually it? So as we hold it in there steady, we tighten it down. And what you want to do with these screws is you always want to make sure to make it look professional that they look horizontal. So that way everything's lined up nice. Okay. All right, so once we have that, now we're going to work on folding up our wires back neatly into the box. So we're going to start with our ground. We're going to twist around our wires and make that spiral, that accordion thing that we talked about last time, so that everything fits in here nice and neat. We push it on nice and neat like that. And then we take our main mounting screws that we took off in the beginning. Get one started, line it up, get the other one started. Okay. We hold it and we make sure that it's nice and level. And that's it. A much more professional and better looking outcome than what we had before, and much better than adding a plastic plate over that, which would have hung out and over. Okay, so that ends our lesson, and answer the couple of questions that are going to follow, and I will see you guys back in class. Bye.